I don't think Josh Allen will ever win a Super Bowl in Buffalo. I think if we do see him win a Super Bowl, it's on the back half of his 30s, and it's because he goes to another team very similar to the Matthew Stafford. And the first thing I want to get into is just Josh Allen's postseason failures continues, and it got to the point I want to revisit first the video that I kind of spearheaded during the preseason, where I was just openly like, I hate the Bills. I used to like them. Now they used to be like that fun, energetic team. And I don't like Josh Allen because he's turned into this media darling, and they changed the overtime rules for him, and like blah, 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 this, that, and the third. Just for this weekend, the Bills to go out and lose 33-30 to the Denver Broncos in Denver. And obviously I've highlighted over the years of doing this during like certain moments of games where Josh Allen has had opportunities to close out and hasn't been able to do it. One off the top of my head real quick is when Josh Allen ripped a deep ball. This might've been 2-3 years ago, and he missed the guy, but he had Stephon Diggs on a crossing route underneath it with just wide open green grass. And it was just like, I cannot believe you missed that throw. And we'll get into that a little bit more, but Josh Allen, obviously he has 2 interceptions and maybe one of the worst fumbles that I've ever seen going into half, where I was like, when it happened, I was watching the game with like 5 people. I was like, what did he just do? Like, what just happened? Like, why did he just do that? And I'm still almost sitting here thinking like, what the hell was he thinking in that moment to just like, he just dropped the football.
That was like the most Looney Tunes ass fumble that I've ever seen from a top 5 player in the game. It was like, there's always been this little moments here and there where like you see Josh Allen running with the football and he doesn't like fully tuck it away until he gets into like a more condensed area, so that leaves him susceptible to those types of fumbles. And we just haven't like really seen it. He's done a good job at avoiding those types of plays, but like that fumble was just looked like I was watching Looney Tunes and they were like Bugs Bunny was running down the field.
I thought he was shaving points
And just straight up like it was ridiculous. Honestly funny.
I thought he was shaving points, or he had like the first half over or something like that, because that was just an inexcusable situation where you just like drop the football going in half and then allow the Bills then to get a field goal and go up. And there's a few things that I want to point out to this throughout the course of the game. Obviously the turnovers, and the one that I really want to talk about as well is it's 3rd down in the 4th quarter, and it's 3rd down. He has a throw to Dalton Kincaid, which would have firmly put them on like probably like the 8-yard line or something like that. Gave them the first, pretty much would have iced the game at that point for the Buffalo Bills. And he sails it, and they have to go ahead and settle for the field goal, which opens up then an entire can of worms then pretty much throughout the rest of the game here. And did he have 2 interceptions or 3? Excuse me.
I think he had 2.
Okay, he had 2 in the fumble. And then from there, I want to just go over the interception controversy because I don't think that the outrage that it like warranted or that happened on social media, in my opinion, was warranted. It's really simple to me. What happened was it was a complete 50-50 play. Like I know people stopped it and freeze framed it and all that stuff. That's not how football works. You had to watch the whole play go through. First off, shout out to Jalen McMillan, who didn't quit on that play and made the play of the game pretty much and balled out. But the call on the field was an interception. Like, that was the call on the field. They called it an interception. Then they went to review it. And at that point, there wasn't a 50-50 point. And the argument that people were using was like, oh, like in a 50-50 scenario, that's a ball was always given to the wide receiver. well, was the wide receiver credited with the catch first? Because if the guy was like wide receiver catch, but but we're reviewing the fact that it was an interception from Jalen McMillan, then yes, I agree with it. But a call in the field that late in the game in a playoff spot, a complete 50-50 call, what was called on the field was ultimately going to be what happened. And really everybody trying to like be like, oh, like I don't understand the rules of a catch. Rules of the catch is you have to continue to keep possession of it even through the contact of the ground and all of that. He just didn't do that. And ultimately the call on the field stood. And I personally felt like that was the right call.
Yeah, I thought it was the right call as well. I also just think that the most important part of it is what's the call on the field. Like there has to be clear cut evidence that this was a catch, this was a completed catch, and he was on the ground and he was down, and then the ball was taken out of his hands in order for the play to be ruled dead, for it to be considered a catch. Correct?
Yeah.
So whenever you get a moment like this, you almost kind of have to default back to what's the play, what was called on the field, and is it clear cut that this was a catch and he was down by contact? And I I don't think that was the case, and that's exactly how it played out. So like I don't understand. I get why people were complaining about it because that's just it was just a close call, like a close big play in a big game. And so people are going to complain no matter which way those types of scenarios go, but I didn't have any problem with it. I don't think that one play is um I don't think this interception is what lost the Buffalo Bills the game. I think there was a bunch of other plays along the way that they could have made that would have helped them better off win this football game than just one late interception. But yeah, I the call in the field stood, and I think it was the right call.
Yeah, I think so too. I just think that like it's too big of a moment to like have it. Also, by the way, if it was called a catch and Broncos fans were complaining that it was an interception, I would have told them shut up. It was a catch. It was just if it was a catch and that was the call on the field, that's the way it would have went. It was called an interception. It went that way. That's really all
Yeah,
there
I
is
think
to it with me. I
it
didn't know
was
what you thought about it. That's why I asked you, but it sounds like me and you are on the same page.
yeah, it was just too close of it was too close of a play to flip the outcome, and ultimately what it seems like is the default of what is called on the field ends up being the ultimate decision on these types of plays when they are this close. And the other thing too is like when you slow the play down and look at it at like microsecond frames, that doesn't do anybody any good
Yeah.
because
You
that's
can make
not
anything look like anything at that point.
exactly. And I like seeing it just from a let's see, but it doesn't ultimately give you the best point of view on the play. Like you have to see it
In its
just
totality.
continuously played at game speed. So I think that almost like warps people's perspective on some of these plays like this, just because of how how split second it gets when they go that slow. And in reality, that's not how it works.
It was viewed and it was seen
Yeah.
by everybody. So another thing too here that I just want to get back into Josh Allen really ultimately at the end of the day, because this felt like the game that people who were finally defending, and trust me, there are still people still defending Josh Allen. We'll get into that. But this felt like finally the game of the people who all these years had that feeling that was like, well, what else is Josh Allen supposed to do? He's getting the shit end of the stick in all of these situations. And this felt like that game that finally like turned the tides, because they truly could have won this. There was no excuse they shouldn't have won this game. The
Mhm.
only reason why they didn't win this game simply enough is because Josh Allen was not good enough. That's really all there is to it.
I have a stat for you here that I brought. So in the 15 playoff games that Josh Allen has played, and I haven't heard a single person say this, in the 15 playoff games that Josh Allen has played, he has 29 passing touchdowns, 9 rushing touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and 14 fumbles.
That's insane.
20 turnovers in 15 playoff games. And that's something that I haven't heard anybody say ever when it comes to the Josh Allen playoff narrative. And I'm not going to, I can't defend Josh Allen here because there's nothing to defend. Like, he has to play better if they want to win a Super Bowl. And turning the football over 20 times in 15 playoff games is unacceptable.
Yeah, I have another one here. 135 turnovers since 2018. That's the most in the NFL. So he just has
Ridiculous.
this propensity to turn the ball over, and that's another good stat that you just rung off there. Like, in the playoffs, he's turning the ball over more than games that he's played in. So he has that high likelihood that he's going to have multiple turnovers in these playoff games, pretty much no matter what. So it's definitely interesting because everybody always seems to have that like defense against Josh Allen for Josh Allen, excuse me, where it's just like he's playing so at this high level and it's his team's fault for letting him down. But really, when you get into it, it's just not the case. The one thing that I really want to point out and get your opinion on is the NFL tweeted a video of Josh Allen like crying at the press conference saying, "You have to feel for Josh Allen." First off, they wouldn't do that for any quarterback across the NFL. And why and how has Josh Allen turned into this sympathetic figure who can just like float above media hate, even from like ESPN? Like, I heard Orlovsky talking about him, all the big time people. How has he got this respect, I guess, to like float above hate when everybody else gets so heavily scrutinized?
I mean, I did see this video, and the first thing that came to my mind was like, they didn't need to. This like didn't need to be a thing. Like, why would you feel bad? You don't need to feel bad for Josh Allen in this scenario. Like, their team overall wasn't good enough. He didn't play good enough. Like, if he played better, they win this football game. So why would I feel bad for him?
Brother, I don't feel bad for the guy at all. So,
but yeah, the guy's making $500 million.
$500 million.
Married to Haley Steinfeld,
a fucking actress. Like, I don't feel bad for that guy in any way, shape, or form at all. The one thing that really rubbed me the wrong way out of all of this too is, why the hell did he go up on the podium afterwards and cry his eyes out? Like,
yeah, I don't like that either.
That is the softest shit I have ever seen in my entire life. And if somebody wants to link another quarterback doing that, like, okay, it is what it is. I automatically, off the top of my head, I think of like Terrell Owens crying about Donovan McNabb being his quarterback. But like, him after a playoff loss, like not being able to gather his emotions and go up in front of the media and just cry his eyes out, like, figure it out at that point. Nobody's going to feel bad for you. And that's what he was trying to do. Just constantly give the media a reason to try to defend him and make him this sympathetic figure for whatever reason.
It's funny. I typed in quarterbacks crying at the podium, and every single video is just Josh Allen. There's a video of Tyson Bagent crying.
Doesn't count.
Doesn't count. Not the starter. Also wasn't for the playoff loss. But Phillip Rivers. He's crying. Phillip Rivers has earned it. He's earned it. But really, what I was going to say is Josh Allen really hammed this one up and really maybe got some acting lessons from his wife in this one, with the hands over the eyes, the whole 9 yards on the waterworks.
Yeah, I hated it, and it made me even happier that he lost this game. Really, what it comes down to, this pattern of losing for Josh Allen at this point is undeniable, where people kind of like had this like, oh, I can't believe the Bills lost. It's just like the Bills losing and choking this game away might have been the most predictable outcome that could have possibly happened in this postseason, just because they this always happens to them. They're never able to get over the hump. They never win in big games. Josh Allen's 0-8 in overtime games. As soon as it gets to a point where they actually need to get over the hump, they're not able to do it. This isn't bad luck. We had some conversations about that where somebody tried to tell me and you that this is like, oh, like things just didn't bounce their way, and that's why it is. It's just bad luck. This is who Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills have been in every big moment since the Josh Allen tenure has been underway. So it's not bad luck if this is the same outcome that happens every year. This is just what is reality for them at this point.
It's poor coaching, poor quarterback performance, and quite frankly, not a great roster. And neither one of those are excuses as far as the coaching and the roster goes, because you can make up for that with great quarterback play, which they haven't had.
I do want to say one thing, and I don't know how you'll react to this, but Josh Allen is a great player. Josh Allen is not elite. And I'm tired of hearing that. I'm tired of hearing people on podcasts that I listen to be like, Josh Allen might be one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen in our. He's not. I'm tired. I am tired of these little tiny nuances that people hang on to when we've watched some of the greatest quarterbacks of all time who have played way better than Josh Allen for a way longer stretch than Josh Allen could ever imagine. And people are actually trying to give him these non-existent flowers, trying to say that he might be the best quarterback they've ever seen. I've watched quarterbacks that are way better than Josh Allen, and he's not even the best quarterback in the NFL currently. So I'm just like putting that to bed and to rest right now until Josh Allen can prove to us this was their opportunity to go and win the Super Bowl. And we went over this a million times, and I might refer to it when we talk about Sean McDermott, but there was no excuse for them not to go to the Super Bowl this year. There was zero excuse. The only reason that they fell flat in this particular game is because Josh Allen was not good enough. Josh Allen turned the ball over multiple times, and Josh Allen lost them this football game. That's all there is to it. If Josh Allen did not play like absolute shit, the Buffalo Bills win this football game, and maybe convincingly, because they gave up the ball to them multiple times in plus territory.
Yeah. Yeah, that's ultimately what it comes down to. Those turnovers will absolutely kill you, and you can get away with this type of thing in the regular season, but when the margin for error is as slim as it is when you get to the playoffs, you have to take better care of the football. And having 3 turnovers in a game that you should have won is exactly how you end up losing. So I'm okay with the not Josh Allen being elite until, I mean, quite frankly, I think he has to play he has to get to a Super Bowl. I feel like that is a prerequisite to being elite. And I think that if you are elite, you figure out ways to win, you hold on to the football, and you figure out a way to win this football game.
I completely agree. And now I kind of want to go to the aftermath of all of this, because
I also will say one other thing. The word elite does get thrown around way too much. Like, I think that Josh Allen is an extreme talent, but I think there's a difference between extreme and elite. I hold the word elite to like 3 guys, and not even all of them are in the NFL.
Hey, that's good, but not everybody feels that way. It is thrown around very loosely nowadays. But I want to go into the aftermath of what happened after the game. I said before, I've said since the playoffs started, I said, if Sean McDermott does not at least make it to the Super Bowl, that he's getting fired. There's just no room for him in this organization if he's not able to get them over the hump when he's had so many opportunities to get it done. So this has just been building for years. And I alluded to it earlier, and it's been mentioned multiple times, but they obviously have gone to the wire multiple times with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, and they weren't able to get it done. Then 2-3 years ago, the Bengals go in to Buffalo and in a snow game and absolutely torch them. They lose that game. And now this year you look and it's a clean slate. You got CJ Stroud, you got Bo Nix, you got Drake May, a bunch of unproven guys, and Josh Allen is the only one in the AFC who has proven that he's the guy that has won an MVP, who everybody views as a potential face of the league. And really, when it came down to it, no Lamar Jackson, no Patrick Mahomes, no Joe Burrow. This is if not now, then when? If not now, if you can't get it done now, then when? And the quarterback's not the issue. And we've talked about the roster a little bit, and we'll talk about that because of the press conference today, obviously. But yeah, McDermott does have a strong legacy in Buffalo that he can never get it taken away from him. He stabilized a franchise who was struggling for years.
Yep.
He built a perennial playoff team, but he never delivered when it mattered. And the reality of the situation is they know that they have a window currently with Josh Allen. He's about to be 30 years old, that they need to figure out a way. Like, stability is no longer enough in this situation. They need to figure out a way to spike and potentially win a Super Bowl. So they were sitting there and saying, McDermott has had 9 years at this position. He's had 8 at this position to get over the hump. He is not able to get it done. And now Buffalo needs to sit here and figure out someone who can actually get them over the hump. So I want to talk about the presser today before we ask about like what's next. What was your takeaway from the pressers today? My initial feeling about it was like, there is going to be a lot of finger pointing in this scenario, because there are a lot of guys who are fighting for their jobs, and obviously somebody who's already lost their job where things were done a certain way and people got fired because of it, and now they need to try to figure out a way to fix it. What was your takeaway from the pressers today?
I look at it, I tried to put myself like in the perspective of a Bills fan as I was watching it, and if I'm a Bills fan, but if besides having Josh Allen, I would be concerned about the future of the Buffalo Bills, because you're firing a coach. So you have to get this next head coaching situation correct. You have been right on the verge of being a great team a great NFL team. So on top of that, on top of having to nail this head coaching search, you already have a ton of pressure on you as an organization. And for those guys to go up there and point fingers about who wanted to draft Keon Coleman, who didn't want to draft Keon Coleman,
felt unnecessary.
It's not what it doesn't feel like that's what the focus should be on for this.
Like, Keon Coleman wasn't the reason they lost the playoff game.
No. Like they need to be up there talking about, this is what our plan is for the future. This is what our expectations are as the Buffalo Bills. This is what we want the next 5 to 10 years to look like with Josh Allen as our quarterback. And it felt like very high school girl, where it's like, this guy wanted Keon Coleman and this guy didn't want Keon Coleman. And after the presser, there's a video that comes out of Brandon Beane talking about, I'm really glad Keon Coleman ran a slow 40 because now we can draft him. So
what was the question that was prompted for them to be talking about Keon Coleman? Because I will say that in a lot, I watched the Cardinals like end of year press conference after they fired Gannon, and they absolutely like used it as an opportunity to like pretty much just like get their rocks off. So I would have to like go back and look at the original question where it was like, did somebody in the crowd, like one of the people who were like asking the questions, like tried to like have a gotcha moment about like Keon Coleman, which is like so stupid, because he's just like not the reason of anything. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is at that point. He was a second round pick. It might not work. It might work. Who knows? It seems like they don't like him, whatever.
Yeah.
But like, at the end of the day, like that was, I agree with you. It felt unnecessary and irrelevant. And maybe it was just like one of those questions that they were just like, what the fuck is your problem? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and started like kind of crashing out. So I, I will say, I don't think that the Bills roster is that bad. I think that that is very overstated at times. I think that they always have a good defense. They've had guys who they've drafted deep in the draft who have like always stepped up and played big time for them and have extended them. That really what it came down to, and we've talked about it for the last 2 years, is they're never able to stay healthy on the defensive side of the football. It seems like they're always losing pieces. Like there was a stretch, either I think it might have been last season, where like they just lose like their best defensive player like every week of the year, and it was just
Yeah,
like, who
it's
are they rolling out at
unbelievable.
defense at this point? If you want, and you look at the offensive line, their offensive line has been some of the best in football over the last like 3 seasons. James Cook is really good. I think Ray Davis is really good. I think Khalil Shakir is really good. I think Dawson Knox and Kincaid are both really good. James Cook is a dog. He led the league in rushing this year. Josh Allen, obviously, they hit on him to be a franchise quarterback. I think it's a little overstated that this, how like quote unquote bad this roster is personally.
I think that I think that McDermott actually did a good job coaching up their defense,
Absolutely. I will never disagree with you on that.
but I think that they played above the level of talent that they actually have on that side of the football for a little while. But with that being said, like that's kind of what happens when you invest a lot of money on the offensive side of the ball. Like you either have to have a great defensive coordinator or somebody that is a great defensive minded head coach, um, or get lucky on some of your draft picks and they end up being like really really solid players. So defensively, I think that's where I'm coming from because I obviously I think Josh Allen's is a great quarterback. I like their tight ends. I like James Cook in the O line. I like Khalil Shakir as a wide receiver in the room. I don't think he gives you enough um, to be really, really comfortable with that wide receiver room as a whole. But I think you can work around that when you have somebody as good as Josh Allen. I think that that's
And the
where
best
you,
run game in the
I,
league.
yeah, I think that can be supplemented. But I think that my issue is like the defensive side of the ball. And I think that McDermott did a good job of keeping this defense like pretty consistently solid for the
And
most part while they were so injured.
they've tried. I mean, they have tried every year to go out and fill these holes in their like. I think of like back to a few years ago, like when
Bosa,
they signed
yeah,
like a Von Miller, they signed a
yeah,
Bosa. Like they are actively always taking dart throws and trying to make something work on trying to fill these premium positions. Like you said, like it's hard to fill these premium positions when you need so
yeah.
much. I think though, like I said, like I don't think the roster is the issue personally. I think health is obviously always plays a point in all of this, but like really what it comes down to is like that's why I think the GM ultimately kept his job. You look at all of the talent acquired over his time there, and a lot of the guys that are still there due to the fact of him drafting him. I think he's done a damn good job, honestly. And I know that people probably don't think that currently, but
Oh,
I think that it'll probably, if you really dig into it and look, I mean, I feel like it's a little bit hard to deny. My next question to you here is like, they clearly need an organizational reset. And I know that they just hired Joe Brady, and that might be like too close to home at this point. You know what I mean? Like Joe, if they just go and they hire the internal guy, that OC at Joe Brady to bring him in, like, is that too close to home? Or do you feel like that they need an organizational reset? And if you do think that they need an organizational reset, which coaching direction do you think that they should go into?
so it is going to be Joe Brady, or they just finished up an interview with
They
him?
interviewed Joe Brady.
Uh, See, I think they need to go outside of the organization to kind of fix what's going on in Buffalo. I just think that they need a. I think that when you are a team that is consistently in the playoffs, playing later into the year, I think that the best thing that you can do is bring in a fresh outside perspective if you're unable to get over the hump as consistently as the Buffalo Bills have been. Otherwise, it kind of just feels like, all right, we're just going to give this another shot. We're just going to run it back. Same philosophy, everything. And how often does that end up working? I don't know off the top of my head, but I think that this would be a scenario where I would look to hire outside of the Buffalo Bills organization just to get a fresh perspective, to get a new look at kind of what is going on in Buffalo and where maybe somebody else from the outside can figure out what needs to happen in some of these close games in the playoffs where Josh Allen has some issues and can maybe help him along with those types of things. Because I think what happens sometimes is like you just get so caught up in like the same path and you almost can't see your flaws as an organization. And I think that's probably some of what's happening in Buffalo.
I want to ask you which direction that they should go, but I just want to say one thing before you do that. Brian Daboll, and it's the same thing I said about Saleh when like the Cardinals wanted to hire Saleh and the Titans ended up hiring him. Like Saleh is going to be gone in Tennessee in like 2 years. Brian Daboll proved that he was an awful head coach with the New York Giants. That's all there is to it. And the fact that immediately after all of this has been done with the McDermott, that they've been like, oh, this is our opportunity to get Brian Daboll. It's like, why would you fire? Like, you don't fire McDermott to bring in somebody who is as bad as Brian Daboll, who just flat doesn't deserve to be a head coach in the NFL.
Brian Daboll should just stick to being an offensive coordinator for a few years and leave it at that. People get I understand why people get this way when it comes to like a quarterback and a coordinator having a connection. Like I do think it has benefits, but I just don't think that I don't like any of the guys that, quite frankly, that I'm seeing that the Buffalo Bills are interviewing for their head coaching job. From what I'm seeing, it's been Joe Brady, Brian Daboll. I think they interviewed Anthony Lynn. They interviewed Anthony Lynn.
Who's that?
He used to be the Chargers head coach.
Oh, okay.
Grant Udinsky, who is the OC from the Jags. And then,
I don't hate that one.
I don't mind that one either. I was going to say that's the only one that I think I'm okay with. And then like Lou Anarumo.
Yeah, that would be terrible.
I don't like any of those names for the next head coach of the Buffalo Bills. I think that you get to the exact same spot with those lists of guys as you would with Sean McDermott. I think that they would benefit from probably bringing in like a fresh, younger face with some type of like offensive moxie, since that's where all of their money is invested.
Yeah. Bro, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm about to shit my pants. All right. Sorry about that. You ultimately said that you do think that the Buffalo Bills should go with an offensive guy. Like, I think I agree with you. I think that if you just go out and get the same archetype of coach that was in the building beforehand, it's just like, what was the point of even firing him at that point? Like, either get a strong CEO type at that point, or you have to get an offensive guy.
I also think too, like, I don't think the best move for the Bills is bringing back like a failed former head coach. Like, I don't think that is the method that is going to get them to that next level. Because all of the guys that I'm seeing that they've interviewed, like, I don't know. I just don't love any of these names. Like, if Joe Brady was coming from a different organization, I would be more willing to be like, okay, that could be the guy. But yeah. I think they just need to I think they need somebody from the outside.
Something fresh. I'm right with you on that. The last thing that I just wanted to put out a prediction on my end. I don't think Josh Allen will ever win a Super Bowl in Buffalo. I think if we do see him win a Super Bowl, it's on the back half of his 30s, and it's because he goes to another team very similar to the Matthew Stafford run. Like if he goes somewhere else, somewhere fresh on a contending team, I think he could be that piece to set them over the top. I don't think that he ever gets it done and wins a Super Bowl in Buffalo.
I honestly agree with you. I think that the AFC is just going to get more and more difficult. Like they have all of the good quarterbacks pretty much on their side of the NFL, and it's just not going to get any easier. This was as easy as it was going to get from a who do you have to go through quarterback wise to get to the Super Bowl, and we've just said it so many times, like not having to play Mahomes, Lamar, Joe Burrow, like how better of a chance do you have than that? Like we're never going to see a scenario where all four of those guys are not in the playoffs for the rest of Josh Allen. Like as long as they're all still in the NFL, at least one of those guys is going to be in the playoffs every single year. And then on top of it, like not that Bo Nix is good, but like I think that the Broncos are a well-coached team that have a good defense. They're not just a team that are like you have to consider them moving forward. And Drake May's not even reached the best level of football that he's going to play. So who knows? Like your chances were as good as they were ever going to be this year if you're Josh Allen.
I just spit it. Good girl, we're getting paper as a passion. Collect the stacks and bring it back, man, and take vision.